Two of the hottest speed boots on the market right now are the two Nike Mercurials and the new Mizuno Morelia Neo III Betas. And because all of the boots are kinda awesome, it can also be pretty hard to choose. That's what I'm here to help you with today though, because I'm gonna let the Mercurials go head to head with our brand spanking new Mizuno Morelia Neo III Betas to break down the differences and the similarities between the boots and hopefully help you figure out which model to get. And before you ask, yes, this is a brand new colorway of the Mercurial. It's called the Flash Crimson, and I agree, it looks absolutely ridiculously awesome. But as with all good things, you have to wait a little bit, meaning that you can get this from unisportstore.com, of course, in September. But now you know what it looks like and you can get a little bit excited. Now, for the sake of the boot battle here, let me be very clear that when I say Mercurials, it could mean either boot because technically they are the same. Except, of course, for the fact that the Superfly 7 has a dynamic fit collar and the Vapor 13 does not and is low cut. But when we look at the two boots against each other, in terms of fit in the upper, you're gonna get a slightly different experience here because the Mercurials are made with a full one-piece Flyknit upper, whereas the Morelia Neo III Betas are made with a thin K-leather forefoot, a mesh midfoot, and then a low-cut knit collar. The great news is though that both boots are up there in terms of out-of-the-box comfort because both uppers are extremely soft and pliable and they really tend to just mold to the shape of your foot just like that, straight out of the box. They fit you very, very well. However, they are also both on the more narrow side, with the Mercurials being, I would say, a fraction wider. It's not much, but regardless, unless you have a freakishly wide foot, you're not gonna have a problem fitting in either of these. What's also important is the sizing, where I usually go true to size in the Mercurials and get a spot-on fit. But for the Morelia Neo III Betas, I actually had to go down half a size to get the perfect fit lengthwise. Now, from a comfort point of view, I personally like the Neo III Betas a little bit more, simply because they've managed to give you that really tight and streamlined fit, but also made the boot so comfortable that the sensation of wearing the boot kind of disappears a little bit more. And while Flyknit is indeed wildly comfortable, especially after you break it in, and feels almost as lovely around your foot as this ultra-thin K-leather on the Neo III Betas, well, you just get a little bit more of a sensation of hold around your foot. You feel the presence of the material just a little bit more, meaning that while both boots here are extremely comfortable, especially for being a lightweight boot, well, for me, the Neo 3s are just a level above. The good thing is, however, that if you want to have that sock-like transition from boot to foot, well, you get that on all of them. You just gotta decide how high you want the ankle collar to be. With that said though, the Mercurial does a little better in my book when it comes to lockdown. The upper simply seems to offer you more hold and lock your foot better in place on the plate, probably partly because of the high tenacity yarns that have been woven into the Flyknit upper and are activated and simply tightened up when you start to move your foot. Of course, it also has to be said that the heel lockdown you get in the Neo III Betas, well, it's very, very good, but for me, the Mercurials simply feel a little bit more responsive as a result of that extra hold you seem to be getting in the boot. Again, it's a relatively close race, but for me, the Mercurial is gonna take this one. As for touch, you obviously get a largely similar sensation in the boots because they all have ultra-thin uppers. But you still get a little bit of a difference, I would say, because the Neo 3 has a slightly softer feel to it because of the kangaroo leather forefoot that gives this a little bit more dampened sensation on the ball, whereas you get a slightly more tacky and grippy sensation because of the Nike skin and the natural texture on the Flyknit on the Mercurials. So it's kind of this very raw and honest and barefoot-like sensation on the Neo 3 versus a really sharp and more grippy sensation on the Mercurials. So, your call, really. I mean, for me it's kind of difficult to say because it really depends on what I want on the particular day of playing. The same thing can be said for the outsole. The Morelia Neo III Beta has conical studs, and a lot of them, and while they're very stable and really comfortable and they maneuver extremely well through the ground when you twist and turn, well, they have a hard time against the Mercurials and their chevron bladed studs that just are more responsive, they bite better, and there's simply more of an aggressive feeling when you push off through the ground. And as a fan of speed boots, that's more or less what I'm looking for. It doesn't mean that the Neo 3s are bad, and they're probably the more comfortable out of the two, but they're lightweight speed boots, and I want aggressive traction, so the Mercurial wins this one. It would be interesting one day to see, though, the Neo 3 Japan Beta HS3000 with a bladed outsole just for the fun of it, so make that happen, Mizuno. Please. Of course, there are other little areas where the boots will offer you something different. For instance, the Neo 3 Japan Betas are built, as the name suggests, by hand in Japan by some of the best craftsmen around, meaning that, of course, they have much better build quality and also a better durability. But they're also 300 euros, which compared to the 270 euros for a Superfly or 250 euros for Mercurial Vapor 13 is still more. I mean, is it ridiculous? No, but it's still a higher price. And the question is whether this higher durability and better build quality and overall awesomeness of the Neo 3 can sway Mercurial wearers to try something new. I mean, it's safe to do, and I encourage you to do so because it's great, but I also understand the Mercurial wearers who just want to play it safe because the Mercurial is so good on its own. Because in the end, this is a battle between two, well, actually three, slightly different football boots, with the Mercurials being focused on grip and responsiveness and hardcore speed, whereas the Morelias are probably more barefoot-like and honest and comfortable in their approach to the speed boot race. Now honestly, I think both boots are really fantastic and some of the best boots generally on the market right now. I do also think that more people are probably gonna go with the Vapors and the Superflies because it's the choice that everyone knows. But I also think that the Morelias, it's kind of the undiscovered gem. It's for the connoisseurs, for the feinschmeckers who are okay with paying a little bit more for something truly extraordinary. Now, what would I choose then? Okay, gun to my head, I'd probably go with the Vapor 13 because of the outsole, but honestly, it depends on my mood on that day. But what do you think? Help me out. Which is the better of these two football boots? Let us know in the comment section right down below. And then don't forget that you can go and gear up in the Mercs or the Morelia Neo 3s from unisportstore.com in the link right over there. Of course, also don't forget to go subscribe to the channel with the notifications on. Check the playlist right down there for more videos. And with that said, I'm signing off. A cheerio.